The ups and downs of the three generations of Big Three in China's internet. According to the Forbes Real-Time Rich List, as of June 22, 2020, Huang Zheng, founder of Pinduoduo, had a net worth of $45.4 billion US dollars, about 321 billion yuan, surpassing Ma Yun's 43.9 billion US dollars, 310.4 billion yuan, and becoming the second largest in China. The rich, Ma Huiteng ranked 19th on the list with 51.5 billion US dollars, 364.1 billion yuan. Although JD.com's Hong Kong stock market successfully raised 10 billion yuan and JD.com's founder Lu Qiangdong held 15% of his net worth. The Forbes Real-Time Rich List data shows that Lu Qiangdong's wealth ranks 132th in the world, with a net worth of 12.7 billion US dollars, less than Huang Zheng 1/3. Beijing time on June 23, 2020, the Chinese internet industry ushered in a historic scene. Tencent's total market value broke through to 475.2 billion Hong Kong dollars, surpassing Alibaba's 4.65 trillion Hong Kong dollars. 4.7 trillion, an earth-shattering number, making history. According to the latest market value calculation, the market value of one Tencent is equal to 2.4 ICBC, 2.4 Maotai Ingezhu, 5.8 PetroChina, 9.4 Sinopec, 14.3 Baidu. Past and present life. The first generation of China's internet giants. The first year of China's internet is 1997, and as of 2020, a total of 23 years of development. The term of the Chinese internet giant has iterated 3 times. The earliest was the 3 giants born in the traditional internet era. Sohu Zhang Xiaoyang, Sina Wang's Haidong and NetEase Ding Lei. Among them, Sohu was the leader at that time. In 1999, when the 35-year-old Ma Yun started his business in Beijing, he ran to Sohu to be interviewed by Zhang Xiaoyang. In 1999, it was the era of Zhang Xiaoyang, known as the godfather of Chinese internet. As a result, without any suspense, Ma Yun was defeated. At that time, Zhang Xiaoyang certainly could not have imagined that 10 years later, he could no longer catch up with Ma Yun. In fact, Zhang Xiaoyang not only rejected Ma Yun, but also rejected Tencent's Ma Huiteng. In the early days, Tencent had been in an embarrassing situation with users who could not realize it. Ma Huiteng once wanted to sell Tencent, but the price was not negotiated, so he could only continue to do Tencent by himself. At that time, another returnee named Gu Yongqiang also went to Sohu for an interview. He successfully interviewed and joined Sohu in March 1999 as Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. In 2005, Gu Yongqiang left Sohu. In 2006, Youku Video was founded. On March 12, 2012, Tudou was acquired and became Youku Tudou. In 2015, Youku Tudou sold to Jack Ma's Ali at a price of 4.5 billion US dollars. Both Sohu and Sina are in Beijing, and NetEase favors southern Guangzhou. Sohu is the earliest of the 3 companies that are showing signs of decline, but Zhang Xiaoyang struggled to save himself and eventually hatched Sohu in his hands. It wasn't until June 7 of this year that Zhang Xiaoyang revealed that Sohu was now out of danger, rescued, and began to recover. From this we can see what Sohu has experienced over the years. In August 2017, Sohu went public and Tencent held 38.2% of the shares, ranking first among the largest shareholders. As of May 2020, Sohu's market value was $1.267 billion. Sohu is the most successful case of Sohu in recent years, but compared with Sina and NetEase, the gap is still significant. Many years later, Zhang Xiaoyang admitted in an interview that his premature success made him extremely inflated. But any expansion will have no good results. Modesty makes people progress, and pride makes people lag behind. Many of what Chairman Mao said made sense. I have a very profound entrepreneurial experience. See whether a department is good or not, or the department head, see if a company is good or not, or the business owner. Sina's internal shareholders' conflict occurred in the midterm, Wang's Haidong was out, and Cao Kuo Ei succeeded. During Cao Kuo Ei's tenure, Sina hatched Sina Weibo, which was renamed Weibo after Sina Weibo. Weibo was listed on Nasdaq in the United States on April 17, 2014. Sina holds a 45.2% stake in Weibo. Weibo's latest market value is $11.28 billion. Sina also has a very successful action that is rarely noticed. On April 21, 2020, the world's show company Backdoor St Wiki successfully listed on the A-share. Today, the market value is about 30 billion yuan. Sina is the largest shareholder. In other words, the Sina family owns a total of 3 listed companies, 2 of which are listed on the US Nasdaq and 1 on the Chinese A-share market. After the internal consumption of shareholders, General Enterprises will experience a large-scale decline, with few exceptions. Sina has undoubtedly become an exception in the hands of CAO Kuo Ei. NetEase is the only company in the first generation of the 3 giants who firmly grasps the game as a powerful cash cow business, resulting in its strategic competitive advantage always standing. No matter how the outside world changes, it still sits firmly on the Diao Tai. This is the second generation. Tencent, one of the big 3, is exactly the same. This strategy is very consistent with Li Ka-shing's business strategy. Even in the case of a loss of business across the board, there must still be a core business energy source that continues to make money. In private enterprises, the culture of the boss is often the culture of the company, and the whole life and death is the boss. This is true of Zhang Xiaoyang, as is NetEase's Ding Lei. Ding Lei's personality is relatively Buddha and has a strong sense of sentiment, so NetEase is also a very Buddhist company. He never pursues the wind and only works in his own side to pursue the ultimate details of the product. Skilled work. NetEase has created a lot of industry-famous products over the years, such as Dayun Notes, NetEase Cloud Music, NetEase Strict Selection, Koala's overseas purchases, etc., the ultimate models. Among them, in September 2019, NetEase Koala sold to Ali at a price of $2 billion. On October 25, 2019, NetEase's incubators Youdao was spun off and listed on the New York Stock Exchange. As of now, the market value is $3.353 billion. Youdao is the only incubator listed on NetEase. NetEase was the first internet company to enter the pig farming field with great fanfare. Ding Lei participated in the Wuhan Forum to organize banquets with his own pork for many times. The first generation of the big 3 are all portal business models. This model originated from the United States Yahoo. Copying the success stories of the United States to China and copying them again is a microcosm of the early Chinese internet world. The first generation big 3 have laid a very peculiar basic rule for the entire Chinese internet. That foreigners are not local. Once upon a time, Yahoo, the originator of the portal, and MSN China, a subsidiary of Microsoft, the world-class internet king, both roared in the portal field, but they all collapsed one after another. The first generation of the 3 giants has never moved. At present, Sohu has a market value of $360 million, Sina has a market value of $2.358 billion, NetEase has a market value of $57.067 billion. 23 years of ups and downs. It needs to be pointed out here that Sina officials always feel that their market value is underestimated. In fact, it makes a lot of sense. Looking at the 2 companies in their hands, WeChat US stocks are listed, and the market value is $11.28 billion, Xiu Tianxia is around 30 billion yuan. It is the largest shareholder, but the actual market value of Sina is only $2.358 billion, which is indeed very wrong. Win the King. The second generation Chinese internet giant. The second generation 3 giants in the Chinese internet world are Ma Yun's Alibaba, Ma Huateng's Tencent and Li Yanhong's Baidu. With the rise of e-commerce, Alibaba sings all the way, and finally achieves a giant identity of hundreds of billions. Here, we need to emphasize that Alibaba created by Ma Yun is not a reference to a successful case abroad, but its own original business model. The same generation of Tencent refers to the Israeli ICQ, and Baidu refers to the US Google. Tencent firmly grasps the powerful cash cow of the game by firmly controlling the strategic social network portal, QQ and WeChat, and has been firmly held for many years. The throne of China's largest game company has never been shaken. On September 27, 2010, 360 released its newly developed Privacy Protector, which specifically collects whether QQ software infringes user privacy. On November 3, 2010, Tencent announced that it would stop running QQ software on computers equipped with 360 software, forcing users to choose one of 2. The 2 sides sued 3 times and finally won with Tencent, and the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology came forward to quell the incident. This is the 3Q battle that caused a sensation in the Chinese internet. The 3Q war is a great battle. It not only brings important strategic value to Tencent, but also brings brand new strategic significance to the entire Chinese internet. It has fully awakened the lion of Tencent and made it resolutely take up the strategic edge of investment. It has a sharp edge and a terrifying momentum. Since then, no one in China's venture capital circle can easily ignore Tencent's will. In January 2011, Tencent established a 5 billion yuan industry win-win fund, claiming to provide capital support for excellent innovation companies in the internet and related industries. Based on market value calculations, Tencent truly did what President Liu Qiping proposed: use investment to create another Tencent's strategic goal. Tencent's investment quickly transformed it from a public enemy and became a true brother-level enterprise that worships and festers. Tencent's capital and flow model is daunting. Without the 3Q war and Zhou Hong'ai without 360, there would be no awakening behind Tencent. Therefore, I insist that the main idea of Zhou is probably the person who is the most contributor to Tencent after Ma Huateng. At the same time, he also had a great indirect strategic impact on the entire Chinese internet industry. Another special contribution of Master Zhou is to reject Wang Xing. At that time, Master Zhou went to the Sequoia Fund office for a meeting and accidentally met Wang Xing, who was still working on Renren. Wang Xing went to Sequoia to seek financing. The two met face to face, and Wang Xing did not leave a good impression on Zhou Hong'ai, suggesting that Sequoia refused and Sequoia adopted it. Renren.com failed to raise funds, and the capital chain was tight. It had no choice but to resell Kenya Group Chenya's Hu. Wang Xing went to toss about two projects such as Fanfu, both of which ended in failure. Only then did Wang Xing create the Meituan in March 2010, ushering in a glorious moment of 9 losses and a win of $160 billion. In fact, Alibaba's foreign investment was earlier, and an investment department was established in 2008. It wasn't until 2011 that Ali Investment Department introduced the first investor with professional investment experience to start its equally amazing investment merger and acquisition. The huge and strong cash flow of Tencent and Ali also make the entire venture capital industry in China eye-catching. General venture capital companies also need to solve the big problem of fundraising, and the venture capital money is actually someone else's. Tencent and Ali don't need to. They use their own cash flow more, and what they are more scary is that regardless of the success or failure of the previous investment, they can still continue to earn a strong cash flow every year. If a venture capital company invests in a project with a high failure rate, it is very difficult to raise funds. Tencent and Ali do not need to consider this issue. In addition, they also have coveted traffic entrances, investment companies do not. The venture capital industry began to circulate and asked entrepreneurs, if Tencent or Ali also enter this industry, what would you do? Behind this problem is deep fear and anxiety. Because regardless of financial strength or industry resources, it is difficult for general venture capital institutions to compete with giants such as Tencent and Ali. In contrast, Baidu's reference to the Google model in the United States was also aggressive in the early days. Li Yanhong's innovative proposal of the paid ranking model was curious, but it was indeed full of money. For a long time, Google competed with Baidu in China, and for certain reasons, Google withdrew from the Chinese market in January 2010. Since then, Baidu has become the dominant player in the internet search field. Although Baidu is firmly in control of the search field so far, compared with Tencent and Ali, going against the current, going backwards and forwards. As of June 22, 2020, in terms of market value, Baidu was $42.1 billion and Tencent was HK $4.53 trillion, equivalent to 500, and Alibaba is listed on both Hong Kong stocks and US stocks. The latest market value of US stocks is $590.548 billion. In the early days of the second generation, they were also one of the three giants. Now Baidu's market value is not even a fraction of Tencent and Ali. The gap between the two sides is about 14 times. Baidu obviously fell out of the second generation big three. Tencent invested in JD.com for a long time. JD.com was the only competitor of Alibaba's e-commerce business. Currently, JD.com is worth $91.3 billion in the US stock market, and Tencent is the largest shareholder. In other words, it has been a long time since Jingdong surpassed Baidu. Obviously, in terms of investment and incubation, Ma Yun and Ma Huiteng do not retail, but wholesale. They fully realize the value of capital and flow, and also deeply insight that cooperation is far superior to confrontation. As an internet giant, Baidu's investment business was actually established on March 18, 2016. Compared with the Ali Investment Department in 2008 and Tencent's 2011 Winwin Fund, Baidu is not a bit late. Slowness is already a very serious strategic mistake. The bigger problem of Baidu's investment is that there are very few successful cases, and the failure rate of serious cases is extremely high. Baidu had high hopes that Yes was officially launched on October 28, 2008, and Zheng Haoan defeated Doubao within 3 years. 3 years later, in 2011, Baidu announced that it was closed, and it ended in halt. Similarly, Baidu Takeaway, which had high expectations, ended in failure. After being hungry in August 2017, it was acquired at a price of 4.2 billion yuan, about $636 million, and Baidu Takeaway became a wholly owned subsidiary of Hungry. On April 2, 2018, Hungry sold Alibaba for $9.5 billion. In 2014, Baidu bought 91 mobile phone assistants at a sky-high price of $1.9 billion, a contract value of RMB 11.9 billion, which shocked the venture capital industry. 4 years later, 91 mobile phone assistants were as good as chicken ribs and abandoned them. This case is also known as Baidu Investment's largest failure case. On June 30, 2015, Baidu Nuomi officially announced the Member Plus 020 ecological strategy. Baidu chairman and CEO Li Yanhong announced that he would invest an additional RMB 20 billion in Nuomi business within 3 years. In fact, from the perspective of investment success rate, Tencent has the most cases of failure. It also has a large number of investments and a large base, but Baidu is the hardest hit, and Ali is the best. Whether it is internal incubation or external investment, once again prove that Baidu's internal management mechanism and talent construction must have fatal problems. Baidu is particularly dominant because it still firmly controls the search field and still makes huge profits every year. The original 360 Zhou AI was most likely to become a challenger to Baidu Search, but then it happened that the mobile internet era began to rise. Xiaomi, led by Lei Jun, was proud of the horseshoe disease, causing 360 to drop the search, ran to toss the phone, and once again missed the search for a brother. Opportunity. Today, the most likely to be a challenger to Baidu Search should be Zhang Yiming's byte beating. If the barriers of Baidu Search are broken, Baidu will definitely see a cliff-like decline. Because the opponent's strategy must be high dimensionality and low dimensionality, and only nonlinear competition can have the possibility of success. In fact, Ma Yun and Li Yanhong both misjudged the mobile internet and did not soberly realize what difference and change the mobile internet would bring. Fortunately, after realizing the error, Ma Yun quickly filled the gap of this time with the power of capital. And because of the good extension and adaptability of the original main business, most of Ali's original business transformation into the mobile internet was relatively smooth. So, the negative brought by mobile internet to Alibaba is not big. Tencent first got the first ferry ticket for mobile internet with WeChat. It held two major killers, QQ and WeChat, to beat the crowd and continue to sit on Diaotai. In fact, the earliest person fully aware of the advent of the mobile internet era is Lei Jun, which is also the core reason why Xiaomi can sing along. Strictly speaking, Xiaomi is the earliest mobile internet dividend in China, which has become a classic case of super large enterprises. However, the facts have proved once again that in the internet in China, hardware is still not enough to do software. Xiaomi first went to the table, but he didn't eat the biggest piece of cake on the mobile internet. The one that really ate the biggest piece of cake was ByteBeating, followed by Pinduoduo. In 2014, Li Yanhong publicly admitted that Baidu entered the internet very early. But the prediction of mobile internet was wrong, and even once rejected the application value of mobile internet in the early days. Therefore, Baidu rightfully missed a large number of high-quality mobile internet companies, which is a pity. In fact, the second-generation Chinese internet giants have surpassed the first-generation giants on a large scale in terms of capital, strategic layout, and market value, a gap of tens to hundreds of times. The second-generation Chinese internet giants have also opened up both internal and external forces. Incubating internally, investing externally, or mergers and acquisitions, which has undoubtedly greatly promoted the vitality and development of the entire internet industry in China. The development and penetration of the internet have also exerted different thrusts on traditional industries, which has caused tremendous changes in the entire Chinese business environment. This is a huge difference between the first and second generation giants. To some extent, Ali is actually a competitive giant that Tencent has cultivated itself. In 2003, Ma Yun started Doubao. He once found Ma Huiteng to cooperate and hoped that he would invest in Doubao, accounting for 15% of the shares. However, Ma Huiteng had not experienced the 3Q war after 7 years at that time, and his investment thinking was not awakened. He neither optimistic about Doubao's business model, but also believed that the 15% share is too low. Therefore, refused. Later, Ma Huiteng admitted frankly, "I didn't invest in Doubao, I regretted my death." If the 3Q battle did not take place in 2010 but in 2003, Ma Huiteng may invest in Doubao. If Tencent is an important shareholder of Alibaba, this is undoubtedly a jaw-dropping and tumultuous thing, and the world is very different. Although Ali's early B2B performance was good, the C2C e-commerce business really took off from Doubao. Doubao defeated eBay in the US in a free mode, forcing eBay to withdraw from the Chinese market and establishing Doubao's dominance in the Chinese e-commerce field, thus truly establishing Ali's dominance in the e-commerce field. Based on the actual demand and traffic advantages of e-commerce, Ali extended Alipay, Tmall, and other businesses, and gradually formed its own huge and unique e-commerce industry system, becoming a giant $500 billion enterprise. In fact, not only Zhang Qiaoyang, Ma Huiteng rejected Ma Yun, but the powerful Lei Jun at that time also rejected the weak Ma Yun. Lei Jun's reason is that Ma Yun said too much, and he couldn't believe it. Even more amazing is that China's business godfather, Lenovo founder Lu Chuanzi, rejected Tencent, Ali and Baidu all at once. The only one who can refuse BAT so far is Lu Chuanzi. In essence, Lenovo rejected the entire era. Global expansion. The era of the third generation of the new Big Three has arrived. Huang Zheng's many fights, Wang Xing's Meituan, and Zhang Yiming's spite beating are what I call the new three giants of the Chinese internet, and their time is here. One very special thing is that Pinduoduo and ByteDance are both companies based on the mobile internet. The business nature of Meituan is highly similar to Ali's Alipay, Doubao, Tmall, and other main businesses, and can be smoothly extended to the mobile internet field. The essence of group buying is e-commerce, which is the same thing as Ali's core business e-commerce. Therefore, it is inevitable that JD.com and Ali have conflicts, and the Meituan and Ali have conflicts. Currently, Pinduoduo has a current market value of $96.828 billion, Meituan's 1 trillion Hong Kong dollar, equivalent to $160 billion. Zhang Yiming's ByteJump is not yet listed, but the latest market valuation has reached $100 billion, August 2018, the valuation is $75 billion. Pinduoduo has done it for 5 years with the shortest time, Meituan has 10 years, Byte has not been listed yet, with a valuation of $100 billion for 8 years. Needless to say, the time of the first and second generation of the Big Three. From the time dimension, we can estimate the growth rate of the Byte as the rocket speed. It may be the third consecutive generation and the fastest growing company among the 9 giants. This is its first unique feature. If Byte jumps to the market, it is very likely to surpass the market value of Pinduoduo, which is not worse than Meituan, or even surpass Meituan, because Byte is the only company among the 3 companies that currently achieves scale profits. This is the natural business model of it. Advantage, while Pinduoduo and Meituan are still at a strategic loss stage. The value of the 3 companies is actually far from Baidu and replaced. At the same time, they also surpassed Jingdong, which was originally ranked 3rd. Among the new 3 giants, the e-commerce business of Pinduoduo constitutes the main competitive relationship with JD. From the market value point of view, Pinduoduo currently beats Jingdong by $3.7 billion. However, Jingdong has been developing for 22 years, and Pinduoduo has only risen for 5 years. However, JD.com still has a trump card of JD Logistics, which has not yet been listed. The valuation of Jianghu is about $10.9 billion. If Jingdong added this card, he could easily beat Pinduoduo. As for whether it is possible to surpass Tencent and Ali from the perspective of market value, I think this possibility is not high. Because the current Ali and Tencent can no longer be regarded as a single enterprise alone. They have grown into a basic ecosystem, and this system it takes hundreds of billions of capital and time to develop it, and it cannot be done in the short term. In particular, Tencent also owns WeChat Bank, and Ali also holds Ant Technology, which is a strong billion-level card. Excluding Baidu, Ali, and Tencent, together with the three rising giants, are the five most powerful and compelling internet companies in China, with a total market value of more than $1.5 trillion. Meituan was established on March 4, 2010, and has developed for a total of 10 years so far. It has gone through thousands of regiment battles and finally took the first position in the group buying industry. On October 8, 2015, Meituan merged with Dianping. Soon, Zhang Tao, the original founder of Dazhong Commentary, left, and Wang Xing took control of the situation. When Meituan commented on the market in 2018, Wang Xing said that in China, 1 in 4 people spent money on Meituan. With the firm control of offline merchants, Meituan successfully extended its business from a single group purchase to 5 major business lines, including catering, movie tickets, tourism, hotel reservations, and takeout. It is particularly worth noting that the group buying industry advances with the local push, and the management of the local push team is very difficult. At present, the internet industry can count the number of local push teams that can be counted with one hand. Only Ali, Meituan and Hungry are the three. This is the unique difference between Meituan and other giants. I summarize it as wireless, not Meituan. Among them, Meituan hatched Cat Eye Movies from the movie ticket business in February 2012. In April 2016, Meituan independently spun the Cat's Eyes. On May 27, Light Media announced that it had obtained a total of 57.4% of Cat's Eye through share swaps and cash. Cat Eye sold itself to Light, but Meituan still held 32.6% of Cat's Eye and also obtained 6% of Light Media's equity. In this transaction, Cat's Eye's overall valuation was approximately 8.3 billion yuan. It is particularly worth noting that Meituan's significant offline advantage, coupled with its high-dimensional and low-dimensional competitive advantage, is the competitor most likely to cut into the taxi field and face the real meaning of Didi Taxi. On February 14, 2017, the Meituan piloted the Meituan Taxi in Nanjing, triggering a strong reaction from Didi. At present, Meituan Taxi operates in many large cities, but the business model is very different from Didi. It is a model of introducing external partners. It is not self-operated. From a competitive perspective, it is easier for Meituan to cut into a taxi. Didi is very difficult to cut into Meituan's group buying site. At present, Meituan cuts into the field of offline charging treasure and uses this style of play, exactly the same. Pinduoduo was founded in September 2015 and has been in operation for a total of 5 years. On July 26, 2018, it landed on the U.S. capital market with a market value of $24 billion. Pinduoduo is the fastest growing company among China's 3 generations of internet giants. It has to be said that it is indeed at the top of the mobile internet dividend. Pinduoduo is completely different from the C2C e-commerce model of Ali and JD. It implements a third-party social e-commerce model of C2M group shopping. Users initiate a grouping with friends, family, neighbors, etc. to promote lower prices. Buy together high-quality goods, so as to form a rapid viral fission state, quickly accumulate users and expand popularity. Pinduoduo first relied on Tencent's WeChat ecosystem, so Tencent is Pinduoduo's second largest shareholder, holding 16.5% of its equity. In addition, according to the prospectus disclosed by Meituan, Tencent holds 20.14% of Meituan and is the largest shareholder. In addition, the current valuation of Didi Taxi founded by Cheng Wei is about $50 billion in 2018. Tencent holds about 11% of the shares and is the largest shareholder. The third largest former Chinese e-commerce company was Vipshop, which favors Guangzhou. At present, the market value is $14.195 billion. Since the rise of Pinduoduo, Vipshop will fall to become the 4th largest e-commerce company in China. Tencent is its second largest shareholder and JD.com is the first. 3 major shareholders. In other words, Tencent has become an important shareholder of two of the new three giants at the same time. Tencent holds the three trump cards of JD.com, Pinduoduo, and Meituan at the same time. It also controls the WeChat Bank and WeChat payment business. Tencent, Ali, Byte, Pinduoduo, JD.com, Didi Taxi, Meituan and Baidu, 8 of China's internet giants belong to Tencent. In fact, among the new three giants, Pinduoduo actually faces the greatest competitive pressure because it has to face two strong enemies at the same time, Ali and JD. In the short term, Pinduoduo has the most variables. In the core area, it is still impossible to say that Pinduoduo is 100% solid. On the contrary, Meituan and Byte, in their respective core areas, can hardly see real competitors at present. It can be said that they have established their core competitiveness and moat in their core sites. Of course, the e-commerce track is large enough. And the moat that fights a lot is not 100% solid, which does not mean that it will fail, but how big it can be, it is still like Jingdong, still ranked second, or third, for many years. The location is difficult to break through, and there are indeed some unknowns, which is determined by its core business. Choosing an e-commerce track means that you can quickly become stronger and bigger, but it also means that you will be strongly contested by Ali and Jingdong. Special attention should also be paid to the fact that Pinduoduo is still the main development of e-commerce business. Hoping to determine its core position in the field of e-commerce, and did not invest too much to expand its ecosystem. At the same time, the Meituan and ByteDance of the new three giants have already launched large-scale foreign investment mergers and acquisitions. Similar to Ali and Tencent, to build their huge ecological industrial system. The Byte beating founded by Jiang Yiming can be called a more magical and excellent enterprise than Pinduoduo. It was founded in March 2012 and has developed for 8 years so far. Bytes first entered the market in the form of the Today's Headline news terminal. Through massive information collection, in-depth data mining and user behavior analysis, it intelligently recommended personalized information for users, thus creating a new type of news reading mode. It is also the earliest, the most successful Chinese internet company applying artificial intelligence to mobile internet scenarios. Byte's products include Douyin Short Video, Watermelon Short Video, Volcano Small Video, Feisu, Chedai, Wukong Q&A, etc., covering video, information, social, education and other fields. Byte is very different from the first and second generation of the Big Three. Although it was only 8 years old, it has been deployed overseas for 5 years. In the second point of the internal letter of the 8th anniversary of the establishment of Byte, Jiang Yiming announced his appointment as the global CEO of Byte, clearly mentioning that it will spend more time in Europe, America, and other foreign markets. In fact, Tencent and Alibaba's overseas market deployment is based on a certain degree of foundation in the domestic market. ByteDance is played in emerging markets such as India and Indonesia, and gradually advanced to developed markets in Europe and America. In August 2015, ByteDance launched the overseas version of Today's Headline Top Buzz, taking the first step of overseas expansion. In October 2016, it invested in Daily Hunt, India's largest news aggregation platform. In December 2016, it controlled Babe, the Indonesian news recommendation reading platform. At the same time, based on the huge success of short video in China, Byte began to copy this model to Europe and the United States, and quickly launched a series of investment and M&A operations. Overseas version of Watermelon Video Top Buzz Video was also launched in September 2016. In February 2017, ByteDance acquired the US short video application Flipagram, invested in Vshow, and launched the overseas version of Douyin TikTok in May. In May this year, Douyin and its overseas version of TikTok ranked the global mobile with nearly 112 million downloads. Application, non-game, download leaderboard. In July, the overseas version of the small Volcano Video Vigo Video was launched overseas. In November, the US short video application Musical.ly was acquired, and the overseas live broadcast product Live.me with the short video cheese was invested. As of July 2019, the total DAU of Byte products worldwide exceeded 700 million, and the total MAU exceeded 1.5 billion. Among them, Douyin's daily livelihood exceeds 320 million. Foreign media reported that ByteDance's revenue in 2019 was 120 billion yuan. In 2020, Byte's revenue target is 200 billion yuan, which is half of Tencent. In 2019, Tencent's revenue was 377.3. A few days ago, the head of the Byte game publicly stated in the Micro headline, "We are very optimistic about the direction of the game and will continue to invest patiently. The game is the content industry. As long as you have patience, the content industry is difficult to be monopolized." Attitude. The second half of the sentence is the same for Tencent and NetEase. Because games are the core profit source of Tencent and NetEase, Byte moves are tantamount to declaring war directly against Tencent and NetEase. What is even more peculiar is that in early June 2020, that is, early this month, ByteDance officially established a first-level business unit named after the e-commerce to coordinate the company's vibrato, today's headline, watermelon video, etc. E-commerce business operation of 3 content platforms. It seems that Byte is planning to take the content e-commerce route, which is different from the business models of Ali, Pinduoduo, and JD.com. However, after all, e-commerce is Ali's main business, and the combination of Pinduoduo and JD.com is likely to cause Ali's hostile attitude. Whether it succeeds or fails, this is a jaw-dropping move. In the Chinese internet industry, Zhou Hongyi of 360 was the only one who singled out the second-generation 3 giants. Ali, Tencent, and Baidu, which caused them great trouble but retreated, and they are still alive and well known. Since Baidu has fallen into the ranks of giants, if Byte can challenge Ali and Tencent at the same time, Zhang Yiming is the second historical battle-level figure after Zhou Hongyi. According to the latest news, global downloads skyrocketed during the ByteBeat epidemic, and the current valuation has soared to $100 billion. Data from Sensor Tower a few days ago showed that the amount of bytes obtained by Douyin and TikTok in the global Apple App Store and Google Play Store in April 2020 has exceeded $78 million, exceeding YouTube's $76 million for the first time. A partner of an old PE institution in the United States revealed in an interview that he was shocked by the beating of the bytes. Before June 2018, several video platforms such as Douyin, Volcano, and Watermelon were not sold for a penny. Later, after commercial charges at least 100 million in one day. For 23 years, explore the iteration and rise of China's 3 generations of Big Three. The biggest feeling is that each era has its own great enterprise. Each era has some heroes ending. And some new heroes debut.